what you gonna do. Hello, my name is God, oh, and I created you. Oh, just because you've been given this bad news does not mean that I don't love you. Fade Away is about going into that secret, quiet place to hear and listen for the voice of God. So many times in life we get distracted by bills, our jobs, responsibilities around the house, family, and different things that tend to stress us out. But if we can get into that secret and quiet place, we can really listen for and hear God's direction and guidance. I know exactly what you're going through, trying to live, trying to do like you used to do. Every day is a struggle just to make it through. Every feeling you feel, I feel too. Hello, my name is God, oh, and I created you. Oh, every tear you cry, I save it and try. Can you hear me calling out your name? In Matthew 6:6, it talks about this. It says, "But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you." There is a great reward for going into that quiet time with the Lord and hearing His voice. You get closer with God and you get closer to the will of the Father for your life. In Romans, it talks about not being conformed to the patterns of this world, but being transformed by the renewing of your mind. Let's go to Romans chapter 12, verse 2. "Do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will." You see, when we go into that quiet place, we tend to hear more from the Lord as far as the direction He wants us to go in various situations in our lives, and also our lives in general. We get our passion, we get our purpose, and we get to come closer to what God's will is for our lives. One of the things that I've been learning as I go through the Old Testament is the fear of the Lord. And a lot of people think that the fear of the Lord is something to be afraid of. You're supposed to be afraid of Him. And He is strong and mighty. But the fear of the Lord is not that type of fear. The fear of the Lord is a reverence to Him, a reverence to His strength and His sovereignty and His authority in your life and on this earth. And so when you get into that secret place and you tend to learn more about the character of God, you understand who He is. You understand how He is strong and mighty. And in Proverbs, it talks about the fear of the Lord is the beginning of all understanding. Let's go to Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 2, verse 1. "My son, if you accept my words and store up my commands within you, turning your ear to wisdom and applying your heart to understanding, and if you call out for insight and cry aloud for understanding, and if you look for it as for silver and search for it as for hidden treasure, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. For the Lord gives wisdom, and from this mouth come knowledge and understanding." So when you go into that quiet place, you'll be able to hear God's voice even more, and you'll be greatly rewarded. You'll learn more about His calling for your life. You'll be able to transform and operate more according to God's will and purpose and anointing that He's placed upon your life. You'll also learn more about His character, and you'll operate more in the fear of the Lord. That way you'll gain more understanding and wisdom for your life. You'll be able to handle situations with more righteousness and more wisdom, and you'll be able to influence people to Christ even more. So be blessed today, brothers and sisters, and spend more time with the Lord in that secret place.